always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Cynthia, and I am also with my co-host, Sarah.
Hi, Cynthia. How are you?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing okay. How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun?
I went to brunch with some girlfriends. Let's see, had some mimosas.
Nice.
No, that's it. So that was Sunday, and besides that, just a pretty chill weekend for me. I've been having a lot of those.
Yeah. Those can be nice sometimes instead of just going and going and going.
I know. I'm waiting to do like fun fall activities, but the weather here in California fall hasn't hit here.
Right. I keep this time of year I'm always like, I see people wearing, boots and vests and all sorts of things, and I'm like, yeah, not so much.
Right. Not here. People are still in shorts.
Yeah.
Very light hoodies.
It's very interesting because you'll see people in shorts and then you'll see somebody in like a down coat.
Right. Yeah. There's like one extreme
knees.
to the other.
Like,
it's
really?
so funny.
Are you that cold?
Mm-hmm. That's hilarious. But we're not here to talk about the weather here in California. This is entertainment news. So we're going to bring
the GSMC weather podcast is not on the horizon. That just doesn't sound interesting.
Not at all. So the last episode, Sarah and I talked about the People's Choice Awards, and we both said how neither one of us are really good at keeping up with the award shows because there's so many, and we just don't keep up with when they're announced. However, I actually kept up with the 2019 Soul Train Music Awards that just happened last night.
Really?
I did. I actually watched it live on my television. I know. I'm like, who am I right now?
Which I only laugh because live on your television, it used to be that, of course, you watched it live on your television, and now you can watch it all sorts of different ways.
I know.
That would have been a statement of like, of course you watched it on your television.
I was kind of annoyed because the show was a 2-hour long show on BET network, and I'm not used to commercials. So having to like wait 2 to 3 minutes for the next segment of the show to come on, I'm like, oh my God, how do people without Netflix and Hulu accounts do this? Like,
that's the way I grew up.
I know our world's evolving quick.
Yes,
but. So, as I said, we're here to talk about the Soul Train Music Awards, which I actually really love this awards show. This happens to be one of my favorite music genres. So, the 32nd Annual Awards Show ceremony, which is the Soul Train Music Awards.
Did you ever watch Soul Train?
I did a few years back, and then I kind of stopped watching it, honestly, once I moved to Santa Barbara because I didn't have a TV. So, I was like, how am I going to keep up with the awards show? But now that I'm living...
I meant the actual Soul Train dance show.
Oh, no.
I mean, I don't know how long it was on. You may be too young to have actually watched that. But that's what I think when I hear Soul Train. I think of the show.
I would have liked to see that. I like dance.
There's some pretty fabulous... Well, I mean, it started in the 70s, and so some of the outfits were just fabulous.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And when I say fabulous, I mean like, yee, in a 70s sort of way.
But back then, it must have been super
totally
in and trendy.
styling.
Right. But yeah, so we're not here to talk about the dance or the Soul Train dance show. No. This is the awards show. It took place last night in Las Vegas. And the annual celebration, again, it recognizes the best in entertainment in the musical genres of R&B, soul music, and a little bit of hip hop, but I would say more R&B and soul, which those musical genres are all the vibes. I'm all about the vibes. And when I mean vibes is music that you listen to driving late night, you know, music when you're winding down, you know, getting ready to go to bed, or even like a shower playlist. If you listen to the music podcast, I talk about a shower playlist. I think it's very important and everyone should have one. But so yeah, I do really love R&B and soul music. So I did enjoy all the live performances and pretty much all the entertainers who were at the awards show. So
who were some of the live performances?
So some of them included Yolanda Adams, Wale, who he's a hip hop artist but does a little bit of R&B as well. Jeremiah, Queen Naija. This one I was excited. Boys to Men.
Oh.
Yes, I love them. So I'll get more into the performance later. But yeah, so a lot of amazing performances, and the hosts of the show were Tisha Campbell Martin and Tashina Arnold. And now, before we dive into the winners of the show, who took what home, we need to quickly talk about the pre-show of this year's Soul Train Music Awards, because it was pretty comical.
What happened?
So the pre-show I didn't watch live. The pre-show I did watch this morning on YouTube. And it was just super disorganized.
Oh, no.
Yes. And when I mean disorganized, so Ray J and Claudia Jordan, they were the two hosts that were hosting the pre-show and conducting interviews at the red carpet. And it just seemed like neither one of them knew whose turn it was to speak. It'd be like, right back to you, Ray. No, right back to you, Claudia. And it was kind of like an awkward silence. And like the camera crew didn't know who to put on the screen. Like, do we put Ray J? Do we put Claudia? So it was very awkward back and forth.
So somebody in the production booth was not doing their job, maybe, because there should have been somebody in their ears saying, no, Ray J, now it's your time to speak. Camera one, you should be on, you know, like something along those lines.
Exactly. So it was definitely, there were a lot of funny memes going around this morning about production. People were saying, like, tell the producers of the pre-show to stop drinking, because it looked like, because obviously it's an award show, there must have been booze. But people were just joking like, the producers might have had a little too much to drink, because even the camera like wouldn't focus well. And an even funnier little thing that I noticed was when Claudia Jordan was hosting, she kept reading, like she kept looking at the top corner of the screen. Clearly you can tell she's reading the teleprompter word for word. So it just didn't make the interactions she had with the artist genuine, because she'd be reading on the top corner like, haha, that was so hilarious. Like,
oh no.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So the pre-show had a lot of comical moments. So I'll just leave it at that. Oh, and on top of that, Ray J, whenever he was speaking on the mic, he was literally shouting in the mic. So it was like, he was always like, what's up, everybody? And everything was like he was screaming. So it was kind of like his energy didn't match the one of the other hosts, Claudia.
Oh my goodness. That sounds painful.
Yeah, it was it was a little cringy to watch.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my goodness, like somebody save them. But that's moving on. Let's get into the actual show. That was just the pre-show. So it already started off with a funny little kick to it. And like we said, it was a night full of red carpet looks, good soothing soul music, and live performances. Morris Day also performed, Kelly Price, so many artists that I love. And personally, my favorite performances were from Boys to Men, Yolanda Adams, and Queen Naija, all who I love them all for different reasons. Boys to Men, for those of you who don't listen to R&B or hip hop music, they are
I feel like you're too young to even know who they are, but that's okay.
I mean, I started listening to them, in my very young teen years, so I didn't listen to them right when they came out, in the 90s. But once I was in when I was 12, 13, I started diving more into R&B music, and Boyz II Men, they have a lot of classic hits that are played in a lot of movies. So it was really nice to see them perform live, just because, I mean, they're pretty low key now. They're not in the scene as much as the new upcoming artists. And at the awards show, they performed their classic hit, End of the Road. I love that song so much, and everybody in the crowd was singing along to it. And I actually felt their performance moved me, because the way the camera was showing the audience members singing along to every word, and I was sitting at home eating or drinking a glass of wine, eating my pasta noodle, and I was singing along to the words as well, and I just felt like I was actually there. So I really loved their performance, and I also loved Yolanda Adams. She's a gospel singer, and she has amazing vocal range. Like, I don't know how she does it, but she was holding the microphone like down to her belly button, it almost seemed like, and she was still hitting those super, super high notes while having the microphone all the way down, which me right now, I have the mic like right next to my lips. I'm making love to the mic right now. So I can't even imagine her having like the mic a couple feet away and still hearing her voice super, super clearly, and her hitting those amazing notes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And she performed, she's also a producer, actress. She's a radio host of her own nationally syndicated morning gospel show. And at the awards show, she performed some of her hit songs, Only Believe, Victory, Open My Heart, and many more. So Queen Naija, I also loved her performance. First of all, she looked absolutely stunning in her all-white, sheer, flowy pantsuit, and she had like this sparkly drape top. I don't know how to call it. I'm not a fashion designer. I'm not the best at...
I'm a little concerned about sheer. Hopefully it wasn't completely
No,
sheer.
it wasn't. See, that's what I'm saying. Sheer is probably not the best word, but it was a super cute outfit. So right off the top, she looked very angelic to me. And then the song that she performed is her new single, Good Morning Text. So I just felt like what she was wearing tied in perfectly with her new R&B song that she performed last night. So again, all performances were great, but Boyz II Men, Yolanda Adams, and Queen Naija really captured me, and I love them all. Like I said, I love soul and R&B music. And on that note, we're going to take our first quick break, and when we come back, we'll announce some of the winners of the 2019 Soul Train Music Awards. So we'll be back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hello and welcome back to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. Right before the break, we were discussing the Soul Train Music Awards and the comical moments that occurred in the pre-show of the award show ceremony. So moving on, we are going to dive into some of the winners of 2019 Soul Train Music Awards. I won't be announcing every single award that was given because, again, we'll be here all night. But I'll just name a few that, stood out to me. So, Best R&B Soul Female Artist was awarded to her, H-E-R. And
Okay.
I love her. I love her. She's from the.
Sorry, that's just fun. I'm not laughing that she won. It's just it was awarded to her, and I love her. And that's it's a pronoun. I don't know.
I didn't even. And you know,
I don't get out much.
So her real name is Gabby Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
She's from the Bay Area. So, and we're also in Northern California, so it's pretty close to us. But she has this thing with hiding her identity. So all her album covers is just a silhouette of her. Mm-hmm. And when she performs live, she always wears sunglasses. Okay. Isn't that? And so it's almost like she's just trying to.
So kind of like when Sia first came out and she always had the wigs and the bangs over her face and stuff like that. Yes. Interesting. Okay.
So she tries to hide her face. I mean, there are pictures of her out on the internet where you could see her full face, but when it comes to performing and being out in the public, she always has sunglasses, and her stage name is Her. So
okay, see, now I'm learning stuff.
Yeah, and for best R&B soul male artist was awarded to Khalid, and other nominees in this category were Bruno Mars, Chris Brown, and Take, to name a few. Again, I listen to all of these artists, so I feel like any of them are deserving of the award. Song of the Year and Best Collaboration Performance was awarded to Chris Brown featuring Drake for their wildly successful track No Guidance. Sarah, have you heard of No Guidance?
Probably, but it's not. You know what? I'm not that great with new music because I don't listen to the radio much. I listen to audiobooks when I'm in the car, and so new music is sort of passing me by. And
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I listen to a lot of old school hip hop and rap, and but
not the new stuff.
Yeah, I need to look into that a little more.
Well, that's fine. You don't listen to the radio because they do often play No Guidance a lot on the radio. I would know because my aux cord, it broke, so I unfortunately have to listen to the radio, and the song does come on a few times within like a 30-minute time frame.
Wow. Well, I'll just YouTube it.
Yeah, it's a great song, honestly. It released early this summer, and I'm not surprised they won for Song of the Year because their official music video reached 115 million views on YouTube. And it was if you haven't seen the music video with Chris Brown and Drake, you should definitely go watch it. It's definitely a humorous collaboration between the both of them. So Chris Brown, we all know, he's a dancer, right? Drake is not.
Oh, no.
So
does he try?
Yes. In the music video, they both participated in a dance battle. And, of course, Chris Brown is whipping some of his moves, and they're not even his best moves because I've actually seen him live in concert. Mm-hmm. So I know he was just warming up in the music video, and Drake was so hilarious. Like I said, if you haven't watched it, go watch the music video. It's very funny. And on top of Chris Brown and Drake winning Best Collaboration and Song of the Year, they also won Best Dance Performance because of their music video.
Oh, no. That's hilarious.
Even though Drake did it, like, I wouldn't even call that dancing. He was just moving awkwardly. Right. But it was so funny.
But, I appreciate it when people can kind of laugh at themselves and be like, yeah, I can't dance, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter. It was funny. Like I said, go watch it. And then for the 2019 Best New Artist was awarded to Summer Walker. She is a 23-year-old singer from Atlanta, and she experienced tremendous success off her new album called Over It. Mm-hmm. And it was released in October and produced by one of the top producers in the game, London on the Track, who so happens to also be her boyfriend now.
Okay.
So Summer Walker, when you're listening to a new album and you know it's not that great of an album because you're only like picking and choosing which ones you want to save. Mm-hmm. I'm a pretty hard critic when it comes to new music. I'm just very picky with the sound. And Summer Walker's album was the first album in a very long time that I downloaded the entire thing right off the top. And I only had to listen to the album once to know that I love the track or love the album. And
cool.
yeah, so she actually, according to Forbes article, Summer Walker scored the second largest streaming week of an R&B album in history.
Wow.
So like I said, tremendous success with this new album that came out in October. But however, some people, while I was watching the awards show, it was very obvious that Summer Walker was extremely nervous.
Mm-hmm.
She was awkward, but she has stated in social media that she experiences social anxiety.
Okay.
So people were clowning her, clowning meaning like making fun of her, because her acceptance speech was short and awkward. That's what some people were saying. But I mean,
be nice, people.
Right.
When's the last time you were on national television,
right, and
international television, or whatever it is?
And she's new to the industry. She has stated multiple times that she gets anxiety being in large groups of people. She doesn't like speaking in front of large groups of people. And she's on tour currently right now. And she named the tour the first and last tour, because it's her first tour she's going on and her last one due to her social anxiety.
Oh, wow.
And she actually, she had a few shows. Her tour is wrapping up right now. It's ending. And she canceled a few due to her social anxiety.
Wow.
So it's a real thing, people.
Yeah, it is.
Let her live, okay?
Right.
Don't make fun of her for her acceptance speech.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Trolls.
I know, exactly, trolls. And on that note, we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into the drama between Taylor Swift and her used-to-be record label, Big Machine Label Records.
Ooh, scandal.
We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. Right before the break, Sarah and I were discussing some of the winners of the 2000 Soul Train Music Awards, and we are now going to be talking about Taylor Swift and this huge public feud she has with her record label, or used to be record label, Big Machine Label Records.
I don't know. Does it seem like Taylor Swift is always having some sort of feud with somebody? I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean or rude or anything, you know. I mean, her music is catchy and she seems like a nice person, but is it real? Is it just keeping her in the news? I don't know.
Right. I agree with you, yeah, because I always hear of Taylor Swift versus this person, Taylor Swift versus that person. So I'm just kind of, is she problematic? I don't know.
I don't know. Is it just really good, no publicity is bad publicity, so it just keeps her name out there? I really don't know.
Who knows? But 4 days ago, Taylor Swift shared her frustrations publicly to her fans via Twitter and Tumblr, stating the unfair treatment she has been receiving from her used-to-be partner, Big Machine Label Group / Records. And in this Twitter post, she talks about her lack of rights as an artist and problems she's currently facing regarding music ownership, which this is an issue I often hear a lot with artists and like record labels, like who has ownership of what. And I had to really research on this because, to be honest, I'm not too familiar with like the laws.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm not an entertainment lawyer, so I have no idea what most of the laws would be concerning stuff like this.
And the fact that there are entertainment lawyers just lets you know, right? There's a lot of issues within that industry. But so she posted this a few days ago, and this was on Thursday. And her former record company reached back out to her in another public statement, and they're pretty much saying, you know, they're calling her stuff bluff. They're saying, Taylor, you're making a whole scenario up in your head.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm going to read more into their statement later, but the company is ran by Scott Borchetta and his new partner, Scooter Braun. And according to Taylor, she has plans of releasing a Netflix documentary pretty much about her life as an artist. And she has a performance coming up at the American Music Awards. And according to her, Scott Borchetta and Scooter Braun, the owners of Big Machine Label Group, are denying the use of her recordings of her old music. So they own her old music, I believe, from before 2019 on. So that's almost all her music, pretty much. She released 6 albums with the company. So they own almost all her music. So that's kind of scary to have your whole, I guess, like life in a sense and future in the hands of someone else.
Right.
Especially music that you wrote.
Right. But again, you know, I don't know what the contract says. I don't know what she signed or if she understood what she was signing or any of that. You know, we don't know the backstory for a lot of this.
And here's the confusing part too. When I was researching this whole fiasco up, her dad is actually or used to be a shareholder of the record company.
Okay.
So that's what the owners now, Scott and Scooter, are saying. They're like, how do you not understand the terms of your contract when your own father was involved as well and did something with the company? So it's it gets a little fuzzy there.
Goodness, that sounds a little sketchy on
I know,
a bunch of accounts.
It gets just very twisted. But anyway, so in other words, Taylor Swift is not allowed to perform her old songs on television, nor use older music or performance footage for her upcoming Netflix documentary, since according to the record company, that is essentially re-recording copycat versions of her songs, which apparently in a legally binding document that she signed with Big Machine Label Records, she's not allowed to re-record her old music. But she states that she's legally allowed to, and the label can't tell her no. So it's kind of like two completely different stories right here.
Right. It's definitely he said, she said.
Exactly.
But I don't know what's true.
I know. We don't know. This is just based on what each of them are posting on social media. And all of this went down just a few days ago, about 4 days ago. So I'm going to give you, the listeners, and Sarah, some background info, because this feud has been going on for a few months now, I believe since June of this year.
Okay.
And so on June 30th, a news bomb dropped that Big Machine Label Group sold the Nashville-based record label and its publishing arm, Big Machine Music, to celebrity talent manager Scooter Braun for upwards of $300 million. So Scooter Braun is, again, the partner of Scott Borchetta, who is the CEO of the record label.
Okay.
And Taylor Swift, she was one of the first signed artists on the label, and her career helped the record label also sign other artists, because when Taylor first got discovered at the young age of 14, she pretty much, in a sense, put the record label on. Other artists wanted to sign with them because they were saying, oh, you know, they have Taylor Swift on their team, you know. So the record label, or Scott Braun, he manages Ariana Grande and other huge artists. So the fact that, I forgot what I was going to say here. The fact that the label owns the master recordings for Taylor Swift's incredibly successful 6 albums made the news, or made the sale especially major news, as it said Scooter Braun up to profit from future sales of those albums. And Taylor Swift wasn't too happy about that, again, because she says her whole musical career is in the hands of this man that she doesn't know, and it's really alarming to her. And I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, just kind of also adding into some of the background information about this feud. Taylor Swift also states that she experienced bullying within the record label company and accused Scott Braun of harassing her via his clients. So, like I said, there's a lot of information here. We don't know who's right, who's wrong.
Wait, Scott Braun or Scooter Braun?
Or Scooter Braun,
okay.
yeah, Scooter Braun.
Okay.
So Scooter Braun, she says that she experienced bullying from Scooter Braun and accused him of harassing her via his clients.
Okay.
Yeah, so now returning, so that was all that went down in June. So I'm kind of jumping timelines here. So that happened in June, and then now I'm returning back to the post that Taylor Swift posted a few days ago. She also shares how incredibly wrong she believes the situation is, and due to the fact that neither of those men wrote those songs or had any creative input into her music at that time, she just doesn't write.
She signed a contract.
I know. So people, read what you sign.
Right.
That's the big. That's what I'm taking from her. Read what you sign. And she also, Taylor Swift says, like, you know, that they had nothing to do with the relationship she has with her fans, and it just gets very messy. And other celebrities and artists were supporting Taylor. They were actually saying, like, F them, like, own the right. I know. And it gets really messy because when other people jump in, it's just. Right. So,
and it's happening on social media, which is a very public forum for this. I mean, that's the crazy thing about social media these days, is that you can have these arguments and people then feel that they can jump in.
Exactly.
Whether or not they have any knowledge of the situation.
I know. So Taylor Swift in the post, she pretty much just makes a plea, and she's asking her fans, you know, to please reach out to Scott Borchetta and Scooter Braun to, quote unquote, let them know how you feel. That's literally what it says. So I don't really know what that means. And to be honest, in the past, Taylor has had feuds with other people, not because of her, but it's mainly her fan base. So her fan base is the one really attacking all these other celebrities, entertainers, or whatever.
Right.
So, which is going to lead me to my next point. So a few days, or right after this, she posted that on Thursday night, Big Machine Records had to close their offices early due to safety threats from fans. So not only were the fans reportedly trying to find where these executives stay, but they were also harassing the employees that work at the record label. So it ended up being safety threats from fans to the employees, and I just hope this situation de-escalates, because this is just a lot.
Yeah.
This is a lot. I mean, the music industry has so many twists and turns, and I just hope that both parties are able to find a solution that satisfies everyone's desires, and hopefully no more death threats from anyone.
In addition to, you know, read before you sign, also think about what you say. Like, let them know how you feel may sound innocent enough when you tweet it, but if you've got a rabid fan base like Taylor Swift seems to have, you don't know how they're going to take that. So letting them know how you feel, you know, call them, send them an email, whatever, but don't send them death threats or other escalating things.
Yeah, so the situation is definitely escalating, and yeah, like we said, I don't know. This is just, I'm not taking sides because I'm just reporting to you guys, right? This is just what's coming up in the entertainment news, and yeah, I just hope everything figures out. Again, the biggest thing to take away from here, this lesson, read what you sign. Doesn't matter. Read the contract, whatever you sign. And on that note, we're ending today's podcast for GSMC Entertainment Podcast. Leave us some nice comments. Rate us. Give us stars. We like the 5 stars. And, share what you thought about today's episode in the comments. And join Sarah and I next week for more entertainment news.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.